started counting how many teachers were there in the video. And some of you might have read through the wordings and remembered certain meaning or the definition of each and every teacher. That is what we discussed so far. So third time when you see certain lines, automatically you will say what teacher it corresponds to. So this is what the students require multiple times of revision and establishing or reiterating the points whatever you teach in the class. So we are also, as I say, we are also students. Our mindsets are not too far from our students' mindset. So concentration, observation is not 100% in any human. So we cannot blame the students also. So this sort of interactive classroom where you make the students observe the important things and ask them questions and repeat certain things, what happens? They understand better and they observe better and retain also better and they will be able to reproduce better. So this is the basic concept where I thought I can make you understand the difficulty of a student sitting in front of you in the class, right? So first time when we do, we cannot expect 100% the student will observe everything, whatever you say. That is why in every class, we have to split the class timing in such a way, like after you teach the class for 10 to 15 minutes, you interact with the students, because the psychologists say that more than 10 or 15 minutes, one person cannot concentrate on one particular thing. Beyond that, it is a waste actually. You will keep talking, but they will be having their mind somewhere else. They will not be able to concentrate on one particular thing for more than 10 to 15 minutes. So you give a break, interact with them, give them some assignments, talk to them something, then you take the class for another 10 minutes. Then you come to revising everything, like whatever you taught that day. And then give some 5 minutes or something for them to discuss among themselves. That can be a sort of activity or interacting with you like a quiz or something like that, which we will be seeing some tools which are in modern technology, which are being used where many of us are not implementing it. So that may help you to improve your teaching learning process. So next day when you come to the class, the first 5 minutes will be a recapitulation of whatever has been taught in the previous class. So this is the teaching methodology. This is how you have to go, because that is what is the attitude of every human, like tend to forget. Especially the Monday morning class will be a new class for them. One full day, 24 hours of gap would have changed a lot of things in their mind. They would have stored so many other things in their mind. So you have to refresh it, store your content in their brain, and then start the next day's class. So this is one way where we practically experience, like when we come in the morning, I will also be sitting in the car and see what we did on Saturday, what is the assignment given to the staff. I mean, we need to recollect. If possible, we will recollect, or someone else have to recollect. So this is the nature. Let me go with this slides. Your time, as we have discussed many things in the initial welcoming session itself. Certain methodology which has to be used uniformly amongst us, we have to start developing along with our normal classroom sessions. That is uniform teaching methodology, effective classroom management, and team building. Next. So this is our program for 4 days. Next. So this is what is the short-term goal. Immediately we need to keep this in mind when we come to the college or when we stay as a staff of SMK Fomra. That is, we need to focus on 100% result, 100% placement, and ultimately 100% admission. So this is what is the ultimate aim of every faculty, because the goal should be uniform, like it should align with the institutional goal. Every individual staff goal should align with the institutional goal, and every student goal also should almost align with the staff and the institutional goal. So 100% result is possible only with the teachers putting their effort and impart your knowledge, whatever you can, to the student, and if you make the student understand whatever you are trying to communicate. So these teaching, learning, both are very essential for 100% result. And placement, coming to placement, we need to improve their communication skills as well as the core subject concepts, basic concepts. That is very essential. And if these two are perfect, automatically admission will come. So this we have to work seriously on imparting knowledge as well as the positivity of the institution and the goal of the institution and what we are trying to do for the student. The students should feel positive about the institution, for which first of all the staff should feel positive about the institution. So main objective of any faculty development program is to, it's not like you don't have skills, but we need to enhance the skills. Every now and then, everybody has to enhance the skills. Maybe new technologies may come, new tools may come. Now you have seen the Digital India campaign by our Modi. The Digital India is so powerful, like all these things, how did we get? Through our Google search and the tools, the presentations which are already available. Just sitting in one place, we are able to communicate to others through our WhatsApp or mail or Facebook or whatever it is. All these things are digital tools only. So how we are going to make use of the digital tools for collecting information as well as for using it as a teaching aid. We have seen, we had some sessions on Digital India where the PowerPoint presentations, how it can be made effective by having a video recording of the teacher explaining about the slides itself. So that can be given to the student where if he misses the class also he can make use of those presentations of the teacher and he can study every now and then whenever he has a doubt he can check it out. So this sort of the latest technologies what is being used and how we have to make the students feel more interesting in the class. So this type of enhancement and in order to make ourselves update, this type of faculty development programs are organized. So the practical teaching, we don't believe anymore in theory. Just explaining the definitions in theory is not at all sufficient in nowadays. So how are we going to make it more practical? How we are going to make them understand the concepts in a better way? Because see, the syllabus or the content of any subject is not going to change. Fresher is also going to teach the same thing and the experienced teacher is also going to teach the same concept. But how they are going to present it, how they are going to make it simple. As you see, the experienced teacher, they'll make the concepts very simple. They'll just tell and go like that. Oh, only this much we will be looking at it like they will not complicate it. Whereas as a fresher, people may not know how to simplify it. So that is what is the main difference between the fresher and the experienced teacher, and also to attract the attention of every student, like how to make the student concentrate in whatever you say. If you just keep on talking, like nobody will be observing you all the time. They'll be writing something, they'll be thinking about something. Physically present and mentally absent cases will be more. So how to make it more interesting is first we implemented the analogy based teaching where we give examples. We make the people visualize. The examples are given mainly to visualize the concept like in the real time. If we have, I used to take the FET sessions, the field effect transistors. So when you have the source and drain and gate, I used to explain them with the help of a tank and your tap in your room and the bucket. So source is the tank and the bucket is the destination, whereas the gate is the control valve where you control the current that is flowing from source to destination. So immediately people will visualize, so you have so much of water in the tank and your bucket is empty, you are going to fill water in that, for which I am going to use the tap to open and close. How much I open, that much the flow of water will be. If I want to restrict, I can close the gate valve. So this is what happens in that also in the FET description. So like this, so many analogies. I think all of you have your own analogies. Even our Rajendran sir used to tell. I still remember every time when he talk about mold, he talk about the idli plate where you pour the batter and you cook to get some shape of that idli comes. No? So he used to tell about that in the form of molding, how to explain the concept of molding. Like that, every one of you will have your own concepts. But it will be related to real life and it will be what we see every day. So when we relate it, when they go home also, when they see that every day, the concept should come into their mind rather than what they see. So this is how we want the analogies to be prepared. And then sensing, like if you want to learn something like, okay, let us go to the next slide, we will see that. Next slide. Next. So sensing is something making somebody feel about that particular concept, like you understand, to understand. Suppose the physics teacher or somebody is teaching about the temperature. or volume or pressure. So you apply that on, if the person feels the temperature, then he can easily understand this is what is the difference between this temperature level and that temperature level. So you can just bring him to an AC room and take him to a furnace. So he will know, he will feel it. Yes, this is what is the difference in the temperature. This has this much degrees and that has this much degrees. So feeling something, this is the example of lift. So you have a sensor in the lift. So when a person tries to enter, when you cross the door, it opens. It allows you to come. So it waits for some time, and when there is no obstruction, what happens? The lift door will close. That means the human is not entering, so the lift will close. That is a sensor which is used to sense whether there is a human intervention. When a human intervention is there, the door will open. That is what is the instruction given to the mechanism. So that is, if a person is made to cross the door and feel that yes, it is opening, he will understand about the working of that particular sensor. Again, the light dependent resistors are there in electronics. So when you make it is used to blow the street lights and all when there is no sunlight. So it depends upon the light, the resistance depends upon the light falling on it. So this type of practically sensing, seeing and observing and understanding will make them understand the concept in a better way. Some secondary effects, like certain concepts will not be true always. This is something related to a gravitational pull. So if you just drop an object in a normal earth, like it falls down, whereas in space what happens? It floats. So there you can explain about the gravitational pull. So that you can visualize, you can show a video, because we cannot go to space to explain that, but that concept can be explained by showing like how it happens. So practical observations is nothing but your IVs, industrial visits. So IVs have to be chosen in such a way where you have the related technical demonstrations done, or such an industry, whatever they study, like for example, if you take the computer science people to some computer company where they see only the systems placed in the company, they are not going to learn much on it. If they are taken to a place where some networking has been properly designed, where they can learn something practically, then there is of some use. Similarly to a biomedical engineer, if they take them to a hospital, so there you have a lot of biomedical related equipments where the biomedical engineers have to explain about the working, and also they should take care of the control of working of those equipments in an hospital, and the doctor is dependent on the biomedical engineers. So you can teach several parts here, everything, but when you take them directly, they will be able to visualize the patient coming and sitting for some test. If you have an ECG recording machine or something, like a patient will be there, they will know where to keep those probes, how the reading has been taken, how they are interpreting the results and all, even if we will get a lot of reports when you go to a lab, but we will not be able to interpret it, like what does it say? Whether it says your alarming result, or it is positive or negative, or it is tolerable. So only the biomedical engineers should practically go and see how this works and how we will be having a future, that is what sort of job opportunities we'll be having. So when you take them to an IV, because now recently we have placed one of our student in Emerson Trades, he was the topper in our college. I just interacted with him yesterday asking like what is there in the company, what are we learning. It's totally different from what we studied. So it is only the basic what he will learn here, whereas implementation and application will be totally different. So now since he has gone to an industry, he is able to visualize these are all the expectations of an industry. But this is something which is, he got an opportunity to go to that particular company only after completion of his BE. Suppose if we are going to take related job opportunity places and we send the students during the college days, what they will do, they will prepare themselves before they complete the final year. Oh, this is what is the expectation of an industry. Why can't I prepare like this? While studying only, he will start collecting data regarding the industry related expectations. So IV is something which we practically see and understand. In civil engineering also, we have a lot of civil engineering works going on in our own college. Construction is going on. So they may teach them like this type of mixing you have to do, this type of concrete is formed by mixing, this is the percentage of mixing you have to do. But when they go and see, you will know the consistency, how the cement mixture should look like, what is the consistency it should be. So we also see a lot of cookery shows in TV. So they'll be telling like it should be like a dosa batter. So what is the consistency of a dosa batter? Only if you take and see, you will understand. You cannot just go by what is given in the video. Maybe the newly married girls should tell like how they learn from videos and cook for their husbands. Because we all have done that trial and error. Like they'll forget, they'll not tell that keep the vessel in the stove and switch on the stove. So like that also some demonstrations may go on. So only if you practically see, visualize it, then you will be able to really understand how it has to be done. So experimental demonstration, I think many of the first year physics chemistry people know, they can show it in the lab directly like how it works. Do an experiment. Some people can even do it in the class. If it is carryable, some electronic, small breadboard related things can be taken to the class. Explain experimentally, you can explain, you can make the LED grow and tell like what is a resistor, how it limits the current and how much value of resistor you need to have. Similarly for other demonstrations like I think the mechanical it is difficult because but with solids and all you can go and explain in the class. They are doing engineering graphics, I think you can take the models in the class and show them. So that is physically seeing something and learning has no match with just explaining them the theory. So this is what every teacher will feel when we are given this responsibility. I have come to a frightening conclusion that I am the decisive element in the classroom. It is my personal approach that creates the climate. It's my daily mood that makes the weather as a teacher. I have a tremendous power to make a student's life miserable or joyous. I can be a tool of torture or an instrument of inspiration. I can humiliate or humor, hurt or heal. In all situations, it is my response that decides whether a crisis will be escalated or de-escalated and a student humanized or dehumanized. So it is all in our hands. We have so much of responsibility. Next. This is what we call it as a philosophy of education. Next. So uniform teaching methodologies. Let me go quickly with this. One is that active learning which has to be implemented in every one of your class. Go to the next slide. Next. So what is active learning like? Making the students participate when you are teaching or when you are learning. It should be an interactive session. They should never feel that only you are talking and they are sitting and listening. So here learning is not spectator sport. They are not here to just see a film or something like that. Students do not learn much just by sitting in class, listening to teachers, memorizing pre-packaged assignments and spitting out answers. They must talk about what they learn and relate it to past experience and apply in daily lives. They must make learning a part of themselves. That is what is the most important here. They should feel it. They should carry it along with them. So what is active learning? Like engaging students. How do you engage students in different ways? Making them writing, problem solving, discussion and making them read. And how do we promote? Because of active learning, what happens is analysis, synthesis and evaluation takes place. Ultimately, every teacher has to make the student do all these three things, that is analysis, synthesis and evaluation. Can anyone tell me what is the difference between all these three terms? Analysis, synthesis and evaluation. What is analysis? How do you analyze? That's what. How do you analyze? Previous problem. No, any particular concept is given. How will you analyze it? Okay, I am giving you a project. How do you analyze that project? A project is made by combining several small projects. It becomes one big project. So if you want to analyze that project, what do? You split them into small parts and again split them into small parts. Understand each and every small part and then finally understand the big concept. So any analysis actually breaking them into small parts understanding each and every small part and then clubbing them to make you understand the entire concept. Synthesize. Identifying the errors. See, synthesis is something you combine two different concepts and create a new concept. That is what is a synthesis. Then evaluation, you give value to that evaluation. So a student should be able to analyze. He should be able to synthesis. Analyze means if you explain something, you should be able to understand how it is being integrated, how it is being made, what are all the parts which integrates it, what are the small things which integrates it. If you take a block diagram, if you come to final year, the lessons will have only block diagrams. And what is inside the block will be taught in the first year or second year. So analysis of that particular entire block diagram is taking each and every block, literally looking into what is there in that block and understand the components or the concept in each block, combine everything, then understand the final concept. That is analysis. You have to go by small things and then come to the conclusion of the entire thing. Synthesis is you teach something. Two different concepts you are teaching in your subject, one thing, and other subject somebody else is teaching. Combining these two, if he is going to able to create something new, that is called as synthesis, for which he need to understand both. Only if he understand both the concepts, he will be able to integrate it. Evaluation is he need to evaluate, like maybe related to situation he can evaluate where it can be used, how important this is for that particular problem. So that evaluation comes unless or otherwise he has a complete knowledge about it, he will not be able to evaluate. So this active learning, what happens, he will be able to start think on his own. He will be able to think on his own and he will be able to apply it. When he is able to analyze, if he is able to synthesize and if he is able to evaluate, then only he becomes a master of that particular subject. So if you are going to talk and he is going to listen, this is not going to happen. Unless or otherwise you make the class active, this is not going to happen. That is why the active learning is very essential. Next. So what happens or why we need an active learning is increases students' participation. This is what again and again we are missing in the class. As much of time they interact and participate in your teaching, then